My name is Sanj Bhayro. I am the GM for EMEA for Asana. I've been in Asana for almost a couple of years now. My anniversary is in December. And then prior to that, I've worked in various organizations, long-time Salesforcer for 14 years, worked in Google Cloud, did some scale-up work as well. And today, and also just to add, we are users of Cognizant. So it was great to see that presentation. You've only just rolled it out. Great technology, great tool. But today, I'm going to share with you a little bit about three things. A little bit about Asana, the company. Also, we're going to share some research as well. We conduct research around the state of work, the anatomy of work we call it, and I'll share some data points on that, specific to the knowledge workers that we surveyed in France. And then I'm also going to share a little bit about how we are thinking about AI and embedding AI into everything that we do within Asana. So they're the 3 points. So that's me. We spelt my name wrong, which is interesting. Who here has used Asana? Okay, few. Well, thank you. And it really is great to be here with our customers and our partners. A little bit about Asana. So founded in 2008 by 2 early Facebook employees, Dustin Moskowitz, who was actually one of the first 4 founders of Facebook, and Justin Rosenstein. And Facebook was growing super fast in 2008. Flat organization, lots of department, lots of work happening. And they were looking to solve a problem, which is how can we better coordinate how the work happens in Facebook? Because they were spending way too much time in meetings, trying to align cross departments, preparing for meetings. So what they called this was work about work. In fact, when we run our surveys, and the problem that they were trying to solve within Facebook at the time in 2008 was just the sheer amount of work about work. In fact, about 60% of the work that we do every day is spent coordinating work rather than doing the real work. Fast forward, and then the product sort of went commercially live in 2012, and fast forward to where we are today, almost 12 years later. We've got over 150,000 customers in 200 countries. We're about 700 million in revenue. And it's a really interesting time. We work with more and more companies, especially right across the world in different industries, especially in the enterprise. We're trying to solve this problem of how we can better coordinate how work happens within our organization. So one of the first things that I want to share with you is part of Asana is not just the product that we have or the platform. We also have our own research lab. We call that the Work Innovation Lab. If you attend a lot of our events, you'll see a lot of research that emanates from these reports. So every year, part of the research that we do is that we survey 10,000 knowledge workers, and we ask them about the state of work. How are they working? What's changing? And when you look, first of all, this Anatomy of Work Index, which you can find on our website, or you can just search for Asana Anatomy of Work Index. Super interesting, but the first thing that comes out from that research that I was really surprised at, we've been doing it for pre-pandemic, 2018, 2019. One of the first things that really hit me was like the ways in which we work, our perceptions around work have changed probably more in the past 5 years than they have in the previous 20 years. It's incredible. Think about the pandemic and the impact of the pandemic, hybrid work, the shift to hybrid work, now maybe return to office and the shift, the rise in the number of applications that we're using and the work and the time spent context switching between all of those applications to manage our days. It's been really interesting to see. And today, a lot of the theme, of course, is around AI. But one of the sort of pervasive themes that you see across all of the surveys is that people's engagement is decreasing. And actually their burnout rates are increasing. Employees are feeling more and more disconnected from where they work. And that's a really big pervasive challenge that is continuing across all of these surveys that we run, that we have to solve across our industry. So let me share some interesting data points that are specific to French workers. So we also do this survey for our top countries, and then we sort of pull out the data, and we like to sort of match it against some of the global trends that we see. So let's take a look. All right, number one. Okay, 83% of meetings, in fact, let me rephrase that. French employees, the workers that we surveyed, the knowledge workers in France, dread 83% of meetings. So does that resonate or not? That one, I was like, what? So that's 4 out of 5 meetings that people that work in France dread. That's higher than the global average. It's still pretty high in the global average. There's another supporting stat on this that's really interesting, which is French workers spend 13 hours a week in unproductive meetings. 13 hours, that's almost 2 days in unproductive meetings. That was a bit of a like, what? Because the average of that across the surveys that we run is generally somewhere around sort of 4 to 6 hours, depending on the region that you're in, that you're spending in unproductive meetings. In France, we're spending almost 2 or 3 times. That was a little bit of a wow moment. Here's something else that's interesting. 60% of French executives surveyed say that they sometimes prioritize looking busy over getting their work done. So thank you, French executives, for being so open and transparent about that. That is interesting, to say the least. It's higher than the global average. We call this productivity theater. It's kind of this need to be seen to be busy, especially through times of change in the organization, right? Like for myself, I am a purveyor of this. Like when the pandemic hit, I felt it incumbent on myself as an executive to have more meetings as we move people to work remotely. So my whole day was spent doing meetings and one-on-ones and group meetings, which invariably increased the amount of work that was happening in the business, but wasn't necessarily aligned with the strategic objectives. So it happens. That number is high. This one was also surprising to me. 75% of executives in France say they use AI on at least a weekly basis. Now, that's pretty cool, but I was surprised when I sort of combined this with the amount of ICs, individual contributors, which is only a quarter. Now, the thing here that's surprising for me is that when you think about AI in the workplace at the moment, most of the use cases for AI in the workplace are like personal productivity. They're assistants, right? Help me find certain information. Help me summarize what's in this thread. Help me triage this request. Help me write this email. All super powerful, but very personal in their sort of what they give to you. This would lead me to believe on the left-hand side with the executives using AI on a weekly basis, it can only be for personal productivity because we're not seeing yet AI playing out in terms of organizational-wide use cases, mission-critical workflows, which is ultimately what you want to be seeing as an executive. And maybe that's rooted in this, which is pretty much aligned with what we see globally, give or take, where 53% of executives are concerned that the information is unreliable, right? I think, well, let's try it. If I survey this room, how many of you would raise your hand if you feel that the AI, the LLMs that you're using in the workplace are reliable or unreliable? So if you feel they're unreliable, raise your hands. All right, that was a good experiment. That's about 50%. Okay, good. It's a good job that we didn't do that for the last one on the executive sort of like, you know, pretending to work. So we won't do that. But so that's in line with sort of global thinking at the moment. But then, hey, you know, if 75% of French executives are using AI every day, but they think half of them think it's unreliable, that one does make me scratch my head a little bit. I might ask AI about that later. But okay. So what are we seeing emanate in the workplace at the moment? Well, no surprises. We're seeing AI everywhere. right? Every single company, software company, is essentially an AI company, often perhaps because there's a healthy fear of being displaced by AI. So you have to be there and you have to be at the forefront of it. And we're seeing just constant innovation. And I was having a look at ChatGPT's new tool. Was it like IO or I1? I can't remember, or O1. That was pretty cool. So everybody is kind of like an AI company now. And everybody has like an assistant. And what that assistant does pretty much is allows you to summarize threads, tasks, data. It helps you maybe with the recommendations for the next step. There's a lot of cool things on sort of writing stuff out. Some pretty cool stuff happening now on being able to triage. But it's still pretty personalized in its sort of productivity. So let me give you an example of how I've used AI and how I would like to use AI. So last night, I was playing around in my Tableau dashboard, as I do. It's my happy place. And then I saw that I was behind in my pipeline. That moved me from happy to unhappy. And I wanted to know why. So I did two things. So the first thing I did was I went into Asana AI and I said, can you tell me what's happening with the pipeline in EMEA? I think my prompt was slightly different, but it was essentially that. And it said, Sanj, it didn't call me Sanj, but it said, pipeline in EMEA is tracking okay, but it's behind in these regions. And then I think I prompted again, why? It's because the lead flow is down in region X and region Y, South and UK, just for example. Why? It's because we have reduced the budget by X% and had considered that we'd get an improvement in our conversion rate by Y%. We were only seeing the improvement in the conversion rate of this. What's being done about it? We are running these experiments at the moment to see where we can improve the conversion rate. That's as far as that whole thread of prompting to me, which is pretty cool, right? Now, in parallel, I did the usual thing, which is, hey, marketing leader, my pipeline is behind. Here's a screenshot in Slack. What's going on? Kind of the same response, or the response was, we're digging into it, Sanj. We're digging into it. We'll come back to you, okay? And then, I've been doing some more research, and I think it's these countries. Yeah, you're right, Sanj. Please stop pestering us. Can you? We're going to check. Well, can you check with ET and what's happening on, which is our enterprise technology? Are these experiments going to happen? Yeah, we're checking, but we don't know if that's going to make an impact. So, what AI was helping me with in that piece of work was just smoothing over the work about work and trying to coordinate everybody to get to the answer that I want. Didn't necessarily get me a different answer. I think I would have got to the same answer doing all the flurry of sending out Slacks and tasks and everything. But what I really wanted is the answer on what we want to do. I want AI to problem solve for me. So, what do I do to hit the target? Well, you've got three options. You can increase your budget and move your budget across, or you can move your experiments and focus them in the regions that aren't performing well, so you get a faster impact there, or there's probably a C there as well. And then what I want to be able to do is make a reasoned answer or recommendation, right? So, here's three recommendations, but understanding the impact of each of them, the ability for me to cover my pipeline goal, but also not impact the other organizations, because, hey, that means moving the product team off what they're doing at the moment. I have to reassign capacity. They're going to fall behind on a deadline. That sort of pervasiveness and that flow, so I'm able to make that decision in line with everybody, is what I want from AI. It is not just tell me what I think I know already, but tell it to me faster. And I think that's where we're going. So, how do we get there? Well, it's all about context. And in today's world, getting the context is still super hard, right? We still exist in the world that I have to go and ask my marketing team, and they have to go and ask their team. And then I need to go and speak to my operations leader and say, can we work on this? And then he has to say, yeah, but we need to speak to product and IT. And then they have to reassign and work on their systems. That's where it sort of breaks down. The ability to bring that all together unlocks the context of how the work is being done, which allows us to get answers to these problems in a more reasoned way. And that's what we think. AI needs to know how the work gets done. Who is doing what, by when, how are they doing it, why are they doing it, what is the impact if we start moving and changing things. And that's kind of the basis of how Asana as a company is thinking about AI. First of all, we're pretty lucky as a company. We've been thinking about AI for many years. It's been something that's sort of deep-rooted. We have board members that we share with OpenAI. We have deep relationships with OpenAI and Anthropic. They're both customers of ours. And where we really started was we developed a set of AI principles. I'm sure you guys are all doing that when you think about how you're building AI into your products or how you're utilizing AI with your companies. It's all based around having a human-centered approach. But these kind of values or guiding principles have a big impact because they really help us take a more longer-term point of view on what we're building. It becomes less about shipping fast and getting these features out and people trying them, and it gets more about us really thinking about the impact of what we're building for the long term. And the second piece is around really setting the foundations around real use cases. Now, this is really where it comes to life, right? Where you can really unlock mission-critical workflows. You can solve real business problems using AI. And what we think underpins that in Asana, and I'm sure this would be somewhat similar to your companies, is that it's the underlying data model that is really important to us. Because like Asana is built, it's built a little bit like Facebook, right? It's like the connections, it's the social connections that you have. These, in this respect, are the connections in how we do work. So it becomes less about just the task and the projects. Hey, Sanj wants an update on the pipeline, that's a project, that's a task. There's a project because there's multiple people that have to do it and it sits in isolation. And it's more about how the work connects right across your organization, which is generally cross-functional, cross-departmental. And once you start building that together in a unified way, so all of the work happens and coordinates in one place, you start to unlock the context that AI can take advantage of. And this is apart from being a really nice jazzy thing to show, this is what we show a lot with our customers. When our customers are coordinating their work on Asana, we're able to show them how their departments are coordinating, where the connections are, where the looser connections are, and where we can improve. And we actually use this when we run reviews with our customers around how the work is happening within their organization. And the final thing here is really to kind of shift from AI being this personal assistant, which is great, super powerful, super useful. The ROI and return is pretty tangible and it's pretty simple. But I think it kind of ends quite quickly. Now, if you start considering AI as a teammate that's deeply embedded in how you work, that understands the context of who does what and how and when, that understands the objectives and priorities of the organization and can help you prioritize, then you can start to get these recommendations around what you need to do to solve the problems of your business. And that's where we really want to take AI, from being that assistant for personal productivity to being that sort of teammate that's ingrained in your processes, your ways of thinking, your values, how you work and how the work happens. It's there where the work happens. And we're building out use cases all the time. We're dog-fooding a lot around AI, both on how we use it internally in Asana, but how we're taking it out to the market. We're trying to allow it to provide, richer insights and recommendations, obviously, but also we're really thinking about how AI can supercharge the workflows in your business so it can really optimize and provide that tangible ROI around the use cases and the workflows that you're running within your businesses. So in summary, a few things to take away. Number one, take a look at the Anatomy of Work report. You can find it on our website or search for it. We run it every year. We have a cut for French workers. It's really interesting, and it really shows that there's still a lot of work for us to do in improving how we coordinate and collaborate in our organizations. Number two, when you're thinking about AI and how you bring it into your business, have a set of defining principles, that allow you to sort of build your AI capabilities, both internally or what you take out to the market. I think that's really important, just to set the foundation. And then number three, really think about those use cases, the problems that you're really going to solve, the real world problems that you can solve with AI, because that's where sort of the magic happens. Then number four, whilst we're at a place now with AI where we have great assistants, they're all awesome, right? They'll all write an email and change the tone for you and all of those great things. That's awesome. And there's some great use cases around that as well. But how can we start bringing AI to start reasoning with us, to start solving problems with us? And to do that, AI needs to really understand the context of your business and how you work. And that's kind of where I think we are now. So with that, I think I'll end, and just to say thank you very much, and I'll be around for a little bit longer as well. Thanks.